Hello and welcome to Inside the Hive, the show where we take an in-depth look right across the club, from the first team to the women's team, right the way through to the academy. Coming up on tonight's show, we're going to take an in-depth look at all this summer's key signings. We're also going to look back on all the action from last weekend when the women took on Crystal Palace here at Vicarage Road. And as always, there's a chance for you to get involved with the show, and you can ask a question this evening to the club's sporting director. This is Inside the Hive. Promised you great guests here on Inside the Hive, and we've got Watford Sporting Director Cristiano Giaretta with us. That's Cristiano arriving at the ground a little bit earlier on. I'm pleased to say he's here with us in the studio now. Cristiano, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
And we're also joined by Watford legend Tommy Mooney as well. It's not Inside the Hive without Tommy, is it? So good to have you here with us as well, Tommy. Plenty of chance for you to get involved in the show this evening, because I've said a little bit earlier on, you can ask a question this evening to Cristiano or to Tommy. Very simple to do that. Just put it in the comment section below wherever you're watching the show tonight. You can also do it on Twitter at Watford FC, and make sure when you're posting on social media about the show, use the hashtag Inside the Hive. Well, gents, good to have you here with us. Let's kick things off. A brief overview of the season so far, with 10 games in. Cristiano, how would you assess things so far?
Well, we are doing, in my opinion, we are doing quite good. We have many rooms for improvement in the team, for sure. If we analyze game by game, we did something good. We had a strong start against Aston Villa, which was very important in order to instill an important confidence. Now the only issue that we have is about the last game, that ruin kind of plan about this moment. But honestly, 10 points for the first 10 games is not bad. It's not bad at all. As I said, we are working hard for improving, and I'm sure that we're going to go to be better and better.
Tommy, some good results in there, some good performances, and some games where the performance has been there, but the result hasn't quite been what we've wanted.
Yeah, there's some disappointing results towards the start of the season, but then I think you look back at the Everton game at Goodison Park, and you've seen how well the team adapted to various different scorelines, and it was a great away performance. Perhaps disappointing result against Southampton, but again, looking forward to another strong away performance at the Emirates.
And just your thoughts, Tommy, on that game last weekend. Of course, that goal from Che Adams kind of was the difference between the two sides. But performance-wise, how did you rate how Watford played that game?
Yeah, I think they had several chances to score in the first half of the game, and but for really poor finishing, we were lucky to go in 1-0 down at half-time. I think it was just a case of getting a little bit tighter at the back, getting closer to them, closing them down and stopping them, giving the opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net. Having said that, it's a wonderful finish, and that's the hardest part of the job, is to put the ball in the back of the net. So yeah, disappointing, but still there was positives in it.
Cristiano, obviously that would maybe be a game that you would target, that you wanted some points from. So obviously disappointment on that. You're based at the training ground. What's the mood been like this week in the build-up? Obviously Arsenal on Sunday.
But honestly, we have a strong group, because they were really capable to react any time, to bounce back immediately, which is really important. Also, the Everton game was an important message for the character of the team, because it was very easy after the previous game, losing at home with the 5-0, going there, going down after 2 minutes. It was you could be destroyed. Instead, they had an important reaction. They had another reaction after the second goal from Everton. So there is character in the group, which is important. Also in this week, despite the home defeat, they are working hard, they're doing well, the mood is very positive. In this case, also Ranieri is helping them a lot. So this is important. The mood is good. We are preparing correctly for the next game, and we will arrive in the Arsenal game really ready.
Claudio Ranieri has obviously had a few games now. He's had a few weeks at the training ground. First of all, for your thoughts, having a manager like Claudio Ranieri, how important is that for a club like Watford?
It's very important. It's vital because he's now the reference for everyone, for every single player. They know who is exactly the reference, the decision maker. Is very positive. He talk with all the players. Ranieri is giving them important indication on and off the pitch. Is a support for all of them, and first of all, is important the character of and the charisma that Ranieri is transmitting. He's also capable to transmit a strong message to the players. They are receiving a lot of knowledge from Ranieri. Now they need to get to know each other, and they will do it even better and better. And again, I'm very positive, I'm very confident. We are improving a lot. We have an important manager, and we have everything for doing well.
Tommy, a manager like Claudio, of course you work with the legend, of course, but lots of other managers as well. From what you've seen over the years from Claudio Ranieri, is he a manager you would have liked to work with?
Yeah, I played against his team, so I know what sort of teams he can put on the pitch. I think the bits in the VT that we just seen, they're a key to it for me. The most successful head coaches and managers that I worked for are the ones that give the detail on the training pitch themselves and not leave it to a coach. And I think that those clips that you see there of Claudio, that's exactly what he's doing. It's really fine detail, and a man of his experience and knowledge and success, that will be key to this playing group that we've got for us to initially stay in this division.
And from a player's perspective, when a new manager comes in, how long does it take for you to adapt? 'Cause obviously we've seen the manager in for a few weeks now. We've seen a great result against Everton, that disappointment last week. But from a player, how long does it take to settle into that new regime?
That can depend on the coach. It can depend on the coach, his staff, and how quickly they get the feeling for what this group of players needs. Because essentially, it's only the players that can win the games. And I think the head coach and his staff have to adapt as quick as they can, which enables the players to relax a little bit around them. Players are nervous when any head coach comes in, because the ones that are in the team will think that they could be out of it, and the ones that weren't in the team will want to be in it, and they'll think they've got a fresh start. So that's normal. It's not just Watford, it's every club around the world.
Massively. Well, there's going to be plenty of chance on the show tonight for you to ask your questions to both Tommy and Cristiano, so make sure you get those submitted and get them in. Just a quick reminder for you, just in the comments section below wherever you're watching tonight's show, plus on Twitter at Watford FC, and use that hashtag inside the Hive. So Cristiano, let's dig into your role at the club and your thoughts and everything. So let's start off with, how would you best describe your role as sporting director here at Watford?
My role is very clear. I mean, is the role where I'm responsible for the technical area, and I got the responsible about the choosing of the players, the manager, to have a technical plan, the summer before of the season, to realize if they need to add some new players also in the winter market. And first of all, as I always said in my role, my role doesn't end up when you sign a player, but in my opinion it starts when you sign a player, because managing a player, managing a group is as important as to buy a player. It's vital, in my opinion, is crucial, because you can avoid mistakes, you can support everyone, you can get some more points in managing everyone in the best way, because we have 27 players, around 20 human resources in terms of coaching staff. You need to have a meeting with everyone, to speak with the player. You have to support the manager and all the staff, and to find the key for in a single player, no? Because they have a different character, different charisma. They are human person. They have also a private life. There is not only the pitch, but there is also the issue of the pitch. No? So you need to understand. That's why important, in my opinion, the role of a technical director every day by day, in the training ground, stay in contact with the player, and of course, mainly also, first of all, to build up a competitive squad, a squad who can compete every single game in the Premier League.
Now, of course, it's a role that you've done before at other clubs, and you've worked with the Pozzo family before, of course, at Udinese. How did Gino and Scott sell you the dream of coming to work at Watford?
Well, we share everything every single day, because we are all together every day. We have lunch every day all together. So we share pros and cons, idea, plans together, which is important because, you know, three heads always think better than one. I also started from Gino. Of course, I don't have to introduce Gino myself, but Gino knows very well how to do football. He's been working in football for more than 30 years. Keeping Udinese, which is a small town in Serie A, for 29 years in a row. They are doing something exceptional also in Watford. Scott is an amazing manager who knows how to manage a club from every single point of view. So I think that we have a good combination for three minds, three knowledges, and all together we try to give the fire, the fuel for the team.
Tommy, the role of sporting director is something we're not too used to in the UK. Obviously, it's something that in Europe is pretty much common practice. Why do you think it's not been a thing that a lot of clubs have gone with sooner? Because obviously we're kind of leading the way, I guess, with having a sporting director at the club.
Yeah, I think there's probably more clubs than you'd think or expect in the Premier League and the Championship that actually have that role. Whether it's sporting director, director of football, head of football operations, those roles, the parameters perhaps with those different job titles remain very much the same. Everything to do with it, all of the departments within a football club, whether it be academy, the ladies team, the medical side, and Cristiano will be responsible for those. It's not just about putting 11 starting players on a football pitch and getting them to win games. And I think with my experience of it, I've worked with several abroad when doing loan deals and transfers. It's just the norm and fully expected, certainly in Italy, in Spain, Holland and Germany, and then England has followed on. I think the days where the old school manager brings in the players, does everything, are long gone, because it's just too big a business now. It's far too important, and those varying different details, you just have to be on them all the time, and one man can't do it all.
Yeah, gone are the days of when Graham Taylor would run the show, right?
Well, he decided what we had for lunch. It wasn't just a case of picking the team, and very, very successful at it. I wouldn't change a single minute with the gaffer, but the game has moved on now.
Yeah, no, it certainly has. Cristiano, do you pick the lunch as well?
Not yet.
Not yet. Beware, you're going to start picking the lunches very soon. That's great. What would you say, Cristiano, so far? You've been here 15 months into the kind of new role now. You came in a time of world pandemic. Mm-hmm. The world was changing every single day. And at the same time, Watford is pushing for promotion. How was that experience for you?
It was a very nice experience, but also unbelievable and stressful from a certain point of view, but amazingly nice because we got promoted. You're right, once I arrived, there was immediately after the relegation, the market was open till the 5th of October. Some players wanted to leave the club because they didn't want to play in the Championship, so it was really tough to manage all this kind of situation, but through a kind of job with smart people, again with Gino Pozzo and Scott, we were capable at the end to create, by the way, the spirit to build up, by the way, a really competitive squad. And it was amazing because you played twice per week, so you were always with the luggage in the hands, home games, away games, and it was really a challenge because you had to win every single game, because for winning the Championship you need to focus on winning every single game, and for winning every single game you need to do the best, the maximum every single day of the week. So it was an amazing experience, fantastic. Also we got promoted with an important squad, and that's it. But it was really intense, 46 games in a row, amazingly.
Okay, let's look at recruitment, because that's obviously part of your role as well. And we're going to start off with players that have left the club, because of course when you want to bring players in, sometimes you've got to make some room. We can look at the key departures since January 2021. Of course, Troy Deeney was part of that. Will Hughes has gone, Etienne Capoue as well. Isaac Success in there as well. Tommy, I guess from a player's perspective, you know, sometimes as much as there is a close tie and a relationship with a club, there does come a time when, you know, you do move on.
Yeah, I think that sometimes people forget that football is still a business as well, and the numbers and spreadsheets have to all match. So sometimes decisions are made in those ways, but also the change for the club that spent such a long time in the Premier League to come out, it's a big shock for everybody, because the Premier League is very, very different to the Championship. So it's normal that some players come in, some players leave. The players that leave invariably pay for the ones that come in when when you're being relegated from a club. So it's normal, but the supporters, you know, they have a tendency for their favourite player, and if that favourite player leaves, they're perhaps disappointed. Until then, somebody else becomes their favourite player, and that's the normal cycle of a football club.
And how difficult is that for you, Cristiano, having to manage the fan expectation of a player that they love and adore, but at the same time balancing, well, I need to bring something different in and I need to make a decision?
Well, it's difficult, but it's my job, you know, because you have to balance the expectation of the fan, which is important, because we also want to do good on the pitch. We want to get a result. We want to succeed. We don't just to play just for playing. But we need also to pay attention about the market, to pay attention to the financial. There are many players on the market. Also, the last market, honestly, with coronavirus was a completely different market. And again, with the relegation also, we had a double damage, you know, the relegation and coronavirus. So it wasn't easy to manage all the situation, because some players wanted to leave the club. But in daily contact, speaking with them every day, with the agents on, definitely we had also smart player. We were capable again to create an important group, but especially after the closing of the market, which is vital. And also last summer our goal was for sure to strengthen the team, because we were completely different level. The Premier League is not we can't compare with the Championship. There are different players, different rhythm, different pace, different skills. So we are sure we built up a competitive squad, and we are going to play.
Well, let's look at those signings that have come in so far, and some players that are already making a big impact. Emmanuel Dennis, of course, being one of those. Joshua King, who we'll talk about a bit more as well in a moment. But Tommy, you look at those list of players, there's some real quality that's come in.
Yes, there is. I mean, there's obviously some young players that are not quite ready for the first team, but then more established ones that you'd expect. Perhaps in King and Sissoko, you've got more Premier League experience than in the rest put together, and it's obviously that fine balance. You have to also remember those players are in the dressing room and at the training ground every day, so you have to create that atmosphere as well, and you have to bring characters in that are going to fit into the Watford way of thinking and the way of life, because like Cristiano already said, you're continuously travelling and you're in hotels and you're in the dressing room. You have to create an atmosphere within that dressing room that enables, come a match day, for them all to give 100% for each other, and that is a successful club.
Cristiano, when you look at the business that was done this summer, are you happy? Did you complete all the objectives of what you wanted to bring in?
In my opinion, we brought a lot of quality in this squad, especially in the midfield, in the up front, honestly. In the up front, we are very competitive, because with Sarr, King, João Pedro, Cucho Hernandez, Dennis, they are all amazing players. They are players who also can change the game during the game. And Everton, you remember Everton, once Dennis and João went in, and they killed the game with they helped a lot of the teammates. So we have a lot of quality. We also increase the level in the midfield. We trust also on all the defenders that we have. Someone on that is not performing at the level that we expected, but we will do. They will do it. They will increase very soon, because with the help of the manager now, especially with the help of the new manager, they are helping a lot. They are working on the defensive phase, but it's not only about the defense. It's about all the squad, the spirit. As Tommy said, it's important to have the spirit of the group first, because I live also I know the changing room, I know the group. There is no dichotomy in the group. There is no envy. It's important. They have a good spirit. if you come to the canteen, you see a table of 10 players eating together. So it's fantastic. The atmosphere is fantastic. I'm sure that with the atmosphere, with this spirit, with this chemistry, we will survive in the Premier League.
Okay, well, one player, of course, who certainly showed us what he could do the other week against Everton was the brand new signing Joshua King, and he caught up with Inside the Hive and told us why the move was right for him.
You are now back in the Premier League here with Watford after a frustrating, as you've said, couple of years. Why was this the right fit for you, and do you feel like you've kind of found a new home here now?
This is by far the easiest team I've come into with the lads, I would say, for me.
Yeah.
Every
Why
person.
is that? What about it?
I don't know, I just felt welcoming. Maybe it's because I knew a few players here. When I signed for Bournemouth, I didn't know anyone. I got to know them over time, but like here I already knew Nathaniel Chalobah, who was here when I signed, has now gone Fulham. I knew Tom Cleverley from United. I knew Danny Rose a bit. It just felt easy, and like the lads and the group here is very collective and very good. But the reason I don't really know is I was just after what happened last season. I just thought, I don't want to wait too long and this and that. And Gino Pozzo, the owner, showed very much interest in me quite early, and we managed to make it happen. And it was a good decision.
Since you've come in, the manager has changed. Claudio Ranieri is in here now. What's he been like with you?
Amazing. It's been amazing. Obviously, we've had 3 games, and he needs time to get his way and the way he wants us to play. Because obviously, you take over as a manager and you have certain players, and he needs to get to know everyone. I think he's starting to do that more and more, and us understanding his philosophy of the way he wants to play. But from so far, it's been good. He's very good character. Good. It seems like a very good man. Honest, straightforward, and he says it how it is, and I like that.
Are you in the best form of your recent career now? Or do you feel like you're getting back to your best?
No, far from. I'm getting better. I feel like I'm like 85%, 80, 85. Of course, you're gonna look at me and think, you scored a hat-trick. But no, I don't really feel at my top, because I've not really had football for over a year, as in playing games. I've been training, but when you play games, it's different. And I played a few games, got injured in pre-season, so I still feel like I have an extra gear in me. But that will come. But I do feel very fit at the moment, as in physical. I feel good, but I still feel I have a bit more.
So the best is yet to come?
Yeah, hopefully.
There we go, good to hear from Joshua King there. Tommy, he mentioned in there, obviously not really playing for a year. It wasn't the best of time for him at Everton. As a player, we have to give him tremendous credit for the way he's looked after himself and the way he's really hit the ground running. I
think he worked tirelessly hard for the team prior to getting his goal at Everton. Myself and Gifton Noel Williams talked about him, how well he'd done in the games. He just needed that goal. And for him to get 3 at Everton was fabulous, and no more than he deserved from the work that he's put in for the group. Like he says, if you're not playing football, you're not a footballer. I've always said that. So every player wants to play in every game, and Josh is still saying that, so it's ideal.
Cristiano, what we'll do now is we'll just go through 2 or 3 of the players in the squad and players you've signed, and just what really stands out for you, for them as a player. So someone like Josh, what stood out for him and made you want to bring him to the club?
Josh against Everton stood out. It was an important an example. I say he's powerful, strong physically, but because not only himself, all the squad. Because to be fair, and I watch the training every day, and all the players, they are really committed on the pitch. They give the maximum. They are really committed on the pitch. They listen up what the manager want to transmit them. They want to prepare as better as they can the game for the next game. So that's why I'm really pleased when they play such a competitive. They have such competitive performance, because they are really, again, every single day they do the best. They do the maximum. They work hard. They work a lot. They need to be rewarded, because also player, It's not easy to work hard. They don't get points. They are doing, in my opinion, well during the week. They are getting good points, and we can do better for sure. But always we can do better. But again, we have a strong group, a strong player, new one or the previous one. I'm really happy for the squad that we have.
So attribute-wise, someone like Emmanuel Dennis, what did you highlight in him that he would bring and add to the side?
First of all, we evaluated the technical issue, of course, the skills, the capability. Dennis, for example, his capability in 1v1 is very, very good at getting behind, is very fast. Also header is a smart guy, is also play also at top level, play in the championship. We consider many things on the table before signing a player, and also the physical data, because also the physical in Premier League is very important. It's also as important as the technical value today in the Premier League. So we need to consider everything, and what we can consider, because in football there is always some variable you can control, no? About the character of the player, the personality, the charisma of the player. But we have to control what we can control. But sometimes the player doesn't work because they are variable. You can't manage. But once you are with the player, you try to manage also the variable as better as you can. But sometimes it's not easy. But honestly, in this season, I'm really happy because we can talk only about football. We have important players, all serious players. We have 27 men before player. An important changing room, so we can do better. We can do good.
I guess a key part of your role as well is also keeping hold of those key players as well. So someone like Ismaïla Sarr, that's someone that's important for you as a sporting director, that you can bring those players in that complement him, but also keep hold of him is vital.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. That's why it's very important to create an environment, to create a club, to create an important club, because if a top player they feel to be comfortable, they're really happy to stay in the club. It's easier to convince them, not only because of the money, but we love players who want to stay in Watford because they see an opportunity, they see an important chance for their career. So only when we see the will to remain in Watford, we sign the player, because probably we see the player for us.
And just one more question before we get to the fans' questions. That we haven't forgotten about you. We've got your questions coming, so thank you so much to everyone who's sent one in so far. Obviously, we know the Pozzo family has a worldwide scouting network. When it comes to Watford, what's the process? Because obviously we've seen the success stories of players that have come in, that have been bought and then sold for more money, which means you can reinvest. What's the secret to it?
We have kind of two scouting groups. One is specialized in recruiting in the UK. We have 4 UK scouts that are specialized in recruiting in the UK. And another important group that they are recruiting players in all the world. So an important number of scouting. We have our model, we have our policy, we have our strategy. And honestly, starting from again Udinese years ago, we built up a model. Also in Italy, is very recognized like a model how Udinese is scouting players. And honestly, the important is to try to get both points on the pitch and to create capital for the club. That's why we need to have a mix between experienced player and a young player, young talent. And also this season, I think that we have a good mix.
Okay. Right, before we get to the fans' questions, we caught up with Emmanuel Dennis just a few days ago, and we asked him some quick-fire questions.
Hello, I'm Emmanuel Dennis, and this is my 60 seconds challenge.
Favourite TV series?
Viking.
Matchday superstition?
Just praying.
First professional goal?
Against Olympics the next.
Coaching or TV when you retire?
TV.
City life or country life?
Country life.
First car you owned?
Mercedes.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Worst thing about pre-season?
Running.
Coach or train to away games?
Train.
Fancy restaurant or takeaway?
Takeaway.
Teammate with the worst dance moves?
Ekong.
VAR, love it or hate it?
I hate it.
Best shirt you've ever swapped?
Ibrahimovic.
Tea or coffee?
T.
Favourite sport other than football?
Volleyball.
Most famous person on your phone? Time's up
My
anyway.
mother.
Your mother. Very good. $15.
15.
15, yeah. Are you happy? 15 you got?
Looking forward to more of those throughout the season. Emmanuel Dennis, he's top of the table because he's the first one to go. How many quick-fire questions will the rest of the team get through? We'll find out as the season goes on. We thought we'd warm you both up for the fan questions. So I've picked out 3 of my favourites from Emmanuel's 60 seconds. So Tommy, fancy restaurant or takeaway?
Wednesday, Saturday restaurant, the rest takeaway.
Okay, Cristiano for you?
Takeaway.
Takeaway.
Yes.
Question 2, love or hate VAR? Cristiano.
Sorry?
Love or hate VAR?
Yeah. 8.
Tommy?
I love it because you get the right result.
Okay, and the final question, who is the most famous contact on your phone? And we'll start with Tommy. They must be someone that will answer to you. It can't just be someone's number you've managed to get hold of. Who will answer the phone, most famous on yours?
So we're not counting Elton because he won't take
He
that,
won't answer
he won't
to
take
you.
that call. Not football related because you've pre-warned me.
Yeah.
I would go Bill Turnbull, BBC presenter.
Good choice.
Great guy.
I won't ask how you've got Bill Turnbull's phone number on your phone, but that's cool.
Huge Wycombe Wanderers connection with Bill and I.
Well, there we go. And for yourself, Cristiano, who's the most famous person on your phone?
I don't have such an important famous person on your phone. I prefer don't tell you.
No problem at all. Right, time for your questions. Thank you so much to all of you who are watching online tonight. Really appreciate your company on Inside the Hive. And throughout the weeks as we go on, we're going to have some great guests in the studio and a chance for you to get involved. So let's get stuck in with your question. Cristiano, first question to you. This comes from Watford Focus. Thank you very much for your question. What are the club's aspirations for the next 3 to 5 seasons, and what actions are you taking to achieve those? So first of all, 3 to 5 years, what's the plan?
For Watford?
For Watford, yeah.
Our plan is always to keep growing, first of all, and this is the guarantee because we are committing every day for keep growing with the club, and to establish as better as possible as a Premier League club, in order to succeed every season. But I'm sure also that with the strategy, with the policy that we have, we will arrive very soon.
Okay. Next question. Adam and Harry have asked quite similar questions, so I'll kind of put this one together. Adam says, what areas are you looking to improve in January? And the follow-up from Harry is will defence be something that you'll be looking at?
The only area that I want to improve is all the area. I mean, now we need to think tomorrow, the game that we're going to go to play in 3 days, because until January we still have 10 games. So there are 30 points on the table to grab. We need to be really focused and to understand how to get as many points as possible, which is important. So I don't want to speak and to think about January. Of course, we are present on the market. We are vigilant on the market, but the market is still far away, and we need to arrive on the market with as many points as possible.
Aidan's question, thank you very much for your question. Aidan says, do you feel like we've learnt from the mistakes since the previous relegation? Obviously, you came in with life in the Championship, but obviously there was a reason why the club was in the Championship. Do you feel from what you've seen so far that improvements have been made so we're not in that position again?
I think so. But the squad that we have in this season is a clear example. Then obviously, as I said before, always we can do better, and always we keep analyzing every single game and our squad, every single player, what we can do better. But with the squad that we have, in my opinion, we can compete a lot.
Mm-hmm. Question next is from Dan Harvey. Thank you very much for your question, Dan. He says, why was Ben Wilmot not considered for the club and sold for a relatively small fee?
Because we had to make choices, a technical choice. It's a technical consideration, technical evaluation, so that's why we made this decision.
For sure. And then Ollie says, what do you believe are the most important values for this club, and how does the club uphold them from a playing perspective?
What do you mean?
So the values of the club, I guess, from a philosophy, a style of play, because there was another question that also came in, which was all about obviously having a philosophy in football is important. And obviously when you have a lot of change, so whether that be managers or players, it can sometimes be difficult.
We want to increase the philosophy, first of all, about the work, about the hard work. We want only, as I said, people and players who come in Watford that they know they will work hard with us, because for competing in the Premier League there are no ways to go. The only way he has to go is the work hard. Also, it's not enough to have just the will to win, because everybody has that. It's about how you, the will, how you want to prepare yourself to win, which is different.
There's quite a lot of questions which kind of talk about the defensive aspect of the side. And I guess from what you've said already, that you're confident in the defensive players you've got. You just need to work with them. Would that be right to say, to get them where you want them to be?
Yeah, it's just about, again, the pitch, the work hard, attention detail matters. So, and with the manager, I'm sure that Ranieri is improving and will improve this player because they are already important player, important center defender. They made some mistakes, but honestly, if we have a look to the goal conceded, also, for example, Tottenham, Everton, and Leicester, they are top club. They consider 16 goals, 70 goal Leicester, and they're making also many mistakes with the top, on the paper, top player. So it's not only about the value of the player, and we are sure that we have important player also in defense, but it's also about the attention, the details, the job, the daily job, and so on.
Well, thank you very much for your question so far. Tommy, I'm really sorry, no one's asked a question yet for you, but if anyone has got a question for Tommy.
I know that's not true, you're just playing it on thick because Cristiano's here, so
if we're honest, fine. The most question that's coming through for Tommy is why did you celebrate for Stoke so much against Watford? But we didn't want to put you through that live on air. But if you want the question,
that's an old joke, and it's running very thin.
It certainly is. Let's talk about the women's side, shall we? Because of course they had a performance here at Vicarage Road on Sunday. If you came along, thank you so much for the support. It's always great to see you here at Vicarage Road, whether it be for the first team or the women's team. Of course, we had Gifton on last week, Tommy. He'd done a bit of training work. Now, the girls went 2-0 down, but they pulled it back, 2 cracking goals to level things up and got themselves a point on the board.
Well, Gifton working with the strikers, maybe that's the future. I think Gifton will certainly take any credit that's on offer to him. But no, it's a great performance and good spirit to come back into the game.
Yeah, that's important. That character when you're two goals down, to come back and get a point, it's important. That's an important characteristic of any side.
It's important throughout football, whether it's men's or women's. It's as the great man always used to say, the scoreline's not important, it's the result that counts. And I think it's really appropriate that whatever the score is in the game, we've seen it at Goodison Park again, with the way that the guys reacted to going one down and then 2-1 down, but having that confidence that you can come back and win the game, and certainly the women's team showed that here at Vicarage Road.
And Cristiano, it's really important for a club. In a minute we're going to talk about the global appeal of Premier League football and for Watford, but actually to have a club that has a good academy, that has a strong women's setup, that has a strong first team, that's really important. It is part of the club.
Absolutely, I agree. It's part of the club, it's part of a technical project, and also it's important also to share also all the experience to try to be better all together, no? And I met also my colleague of the women. Was an important meet, because I wanted to share with them how do they work. I will go, so I can't wait to watch also a live game from them. They are really. I'm also curious about how do they work, and I agree with you. It's important to establish as a club to have all these departments.
Certainly is. Of course, don't forget to keep your questions coming in. We've got more time for that on the rest of the show today. So just pop a comment in the box below wherever you're watching. You can also do that, of course, on Twitter as well, at Watford FC, and use the hashtag of Inside the Hive. Now, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, the appeal of the Premier League is certainly global, which means the appeal for Watford Football Club is also global and international. Now, in LA, just last week, the Premier League hosted a fan fest, and there was only one player we could send. It wasn't Tommy, it was Jay Demerit.
All right, fan fest. Time to put your big boy pants on.
Get your merit.
Let's go, let's go. I've just happened to find the all-time leading scorer in Premier League history, Mr. Alan Shearer. That's right, Alan Shearer eats granola too. Don't forget that, kids. So Al, what do you think? So far so good, LA Fan Fest, 4 in the morning.
Wow.
Wild.
It's amazing, the enthusiasm, the passion for the Premier League over here. I mean, I've been lucky enough to do one in Washington. We did one in Austin. We did one in New York. And the passion all over is unbelievable. I mean, and the dedication to get up at stupid o'clock to come and watch their team is amazing. It's great to be a part of.
Who's your favorite Watford player?
Sarr.
Yeah, he's a good player. And you're a Chelsea guy? You're happy?
I'd say my favorite Watford player is got to be my boy Demerit, though.
Well, that's a wrap for the Fan Fest 2021 here in LA at the Coliseum. We had history. We made history. 5-2 to the Golden Boys. What a weekend. Thanks to LA. Thanks to the Premier League. Thanks to all the Watford fans that came out. It's all about the fans. They're the lifeblood of what we do. We'll see you guys at the Vicarage Road soon. Can't wait. Go Hornets.
There we go. Great to see the global appeal of the Premier League. And Tommy, obviously we had Jay on Hive Live last year. We did well there to keep him in a minute 30 of experience. He loved to talk when he came on the show with us.
That's the shortest I've ever heard Jay speak. Only to squeeze him into 60 seconds, you've done brilliant there.
Yeah, but all joking aside, can't think of a better ambassador for Watford over in the States.
No, absolutely. His profile's extremely high in the States, and to go to events like that and around the world. But it's not just America, it's all over the place. We want to increase the size of the Watford family and community, so not just in and around the UK but all around the world.
Cristiano, of course, you've worked at clubs across Europe and across the world as well. Since joining Watford, of course, you've been very busy and it's been very full on, but do you get a chance to realise the global appeal of a club like Watford while you're
I also exactly to realise, and it's important because we need to promote as better as possible the name of Watford, and I really hope that we have the owners everywhere in the world, so we need to work on and to keep working hard about also this issue because it's really, really important.
Certainly is. Now, of course, as we move towards Christmas, there's lots of festivals happening right across the world, and including Diwali, which is the Festival of Lights. So everyone here at the club would like to wish everybody celebrating Diwali a very happy Diwali.
We know it's an important day for you. We want to make it extra special for all our supporters. On behalf of everyone at Watford Football Club,
Watford Sikh community,
Watford Hindu community,
the Watford ISKCON community,
the Watford Indian community.
We would like to wish everyone a special Diwali.
I hope everyone celebrating Diwali has a very enjoyable and special time with their friends and loved ones. Okay, time for another Inside the Hive exclusive right now, and it's with Kelme, the club's technical partner. They run a competition for a fan and a local club to design a kit. The winner's kit would then get designed and made for them as well, up to a Premier League standard. So let's take a look now at when the winner saw their kit for the very first time.
Yes guys, I'm here with Danny Backman and we're about to go and surprise Ellie, who has won a unbelievable kit that she's designed.
It's been a long time since we picked it, but
long
we finally
time.
get to meet her.
We finally get to meet her and we finally got it.
Kit.
So yeah, we're going to take you guys with us. Come
Let's
on.
go.
Well, I was thinking about like my team, and it's called Wildcats, so it's like, oh, I should do cat stripes. So I did that on the front, and then I also thought about the Kelme logo, so it's a paw print, and I thought, oh, a wildcat might also have that, so I decided to put that on the back, and it all kind of slotted together quite nicely.
Hello.
Hi.
You okay?
Hi. That was so surprising. Hello.
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 I'm Dan, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Will's here as well.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Will. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to finally meet you. Yeah.
Huh?
Do you like the kit?
Look at
Yes,
these unbelievable
it's
kits.
amazing.
It's very nice, isn't it? You've done very
That's
well.
your beautiful design. Have a look.
Very nice.
Nice, isn't it?
Very nice.
Do you have any questions for us? Now
Yeah. Now you can ask us what you want.
I'm going to starstruck.
What a fantastic reaction, and of course massive thank you to Kelme for running that competition, and keep your eyes peeled because I'm sure there'll be more things like that coming across the season as well. And to be fair, Tommy, I think I'm in trouble because Ellie spoke incredibly well then, and I think if I'm ever busy, I think we've got someone to come and present alongside you.
Funny enough, I was thinking exactly the same thing, Michael. Yeah.
You weren't even thinking about me having a holiday, were you? You were
No.
just like, get rid of him. Let's get Ellie in. Right, time now for more supporter questions. Please keep them coming in. We'll squeeze as many as we can in between now and the end of the show. You know how to do that by now. Comment section below wherever you're watching the show this evening, and make sure you get involved on Twitter as well and use that hashtag of Inside the Hive. Okay, first question, Cristiano. No surprise, it's for you. This one comes from Wendover Horn, and it says, why wasn't the Will Hughes situation sorted out sooner?
Because, as I said before, we only want to sign players who are really, who got really the will to remain in Watford club. I want to see, honestly, always the spark in the bell from a player once you give the name or you propose a contract to a player. We have tried the Windsor, but when there is no the answer that we're waiting for, we expect it's clear that we need to change idea, to change direction, but it taking time because we tried a lot.
I guess, Tommy, these deals are never as easy as we think. Obviously, you had a couple of transfers in your career, but also from post-career working in recruitment. These deals sometimes aren't as straightforward as everyone thinks.
No, they're not. And sometimes you work tirelessly hard. I'm sure Cristiano has worked on deals to get in players and get players out for many, many hours, and they don't happen at the end. So it's one of those. You have to have all parties happy with whatever deal with it be, whether it be a player coming in or a player going out. If one of those falls through, then the deal doesn't happen. So it can be very, very frustrating, but nevertheless, that's normal, and we understand that working in that type of industry.
No, for sure. Next question comes from Charlotte Gibson, and also the Watford Way asked a similar question as well. So thank you so much for getting in touch this evening. How does the club expect to manage the impact of losing key players to the Africa Cup of Nations in January? Because I think that's something teams right across the Premier League and world football are going to have to deal with. How do Watford plan to deal with that?
We are already prepared because we're going to go to lose 4 players potentially. So it's not the end of the war. I mean, we are losing important players, but we have other many important players that they have the chance to play maybe with more minutes, more chance. So I'm not worried at all. It's an important showcase for them. We will move forward with the players that we have, and we already planned this last summer.
Okay. And the final question for this section comes from Mike Duffy. Thank you for your question, Mike. He says, has Ranieri advised you on who he'd like to bring in? I know that head coaches don't tend to get much say these days, but he strikes me as someone who would like to have his say. Is that a conversation that you have with the manager of potential areas that he wants to improve on?
No, it's too early. As I said, it's too early. The manager only played 3 games with the team, so we are still time in front of us before making some decision. And again, first we need to push on the gas for obtaining the maximum from the player, which are important players, and then we will see. January, as I said, is still far away. We don't have to make the mistake to think about January, because we need to play 10 games before January, and we don't want to run the risk to arrive in January without choices because we didn't get any points, for example. That won't happen. That's why we need really to be committed every day for getting as many points as possible.
Obviously, when you look at the Premier League, there are some clubs, for example, like Chelsea, that has a sporting director or a technical director that is in charge of those transfers. And some say they may have a conversation with the manager. Some say that they don't have a say. For you as a technical director and a sporting director, is that something that you enjoy or want to have a conversation with the manager, or do you tend to go on what you feel is right?
I personally enjoy to have conversation with the manager regarding the name of the manager, because it's important also to understand his needs, the characteristics of the player, what he wants, what he's looking for in a specific position. For example, what about his mentality, the philosophy, the idea of football, what kind of football he wants to propose. So important to share also with the manager, and also speaking and talking each other. You can have some idea, opinion. No, it's important. I think it's important also to share with the manager.
Okay, still chance for you to get your question in. Make sure you do. Still another chance before the end of the show. But right now on Inside the Hive, let's look forward to the weekend, because it is a trip to the Emirates. Tommy, a trip you're going to be making not too far from here, but a bit further for you from where you live. But a trip to the Emirates, Arsenal, always a tough fixture.
It will be a tough fixture, but we're back in the Premier League. Every game's a tough fixture, whether that be home or away. You just hope that we get the same reaction that we did at Everton after a disappointing loss. This time a loss to Southampton, now we go to Arsenal. Can we show that same performance?
The Sunday game as well, extra day, is that sometimes a good thing off the back of a disappointing result?
I don't think so. I think that's the difference in the Premier League, is you don't have those Tuesday and Wednesday games that we talked about in the Championship. Sometimes when you've had a loss, you want to play the next game as quickly as you physically can. In the Premier League, it's invariably weekends only, and that extra day probably doesn't do us any favours, but nevertheless, we just have to get on with it.
Yeah, massively. And from what you've seen from Arsenal so far, what will be the danger areas that we need to be aware of?
I think they're very well organised, Arsenal. I know that the first team coach, Steve Ram, was my sporting director at Aston Villa for a short period, so I know Steve well. I know how he works, and Mikel will be exactly the same. They organise things very, very well. They've had a tough start, they've overcome that, and they're now picking up points. But they've got some top players in that team, and we're going to have to be really at our game on Sunday.
And Cristiano, for you, and obviously you're heavily involved. You know, you'll travel with the team to a game. Your thoughts on Arsenal from what you've seen from them this season?
I agree with Tommy about the potential of Arsenal, but they have also some weaknesses. So if they were really concentrated and smart and focused, and to underline the weaknesses, we can also to get points in Arsenal. It's not impossible, not at all. We need to trust ourselves, to put on the pitch all the knowledge of the week, to put the reaction, especially the reaction. And again, is normally playing in Arsenal is also the game that every single player would like to play. So also this will to play, we need to show on the pitch and to fight to win duels, and we can succeed.
What's going to be the key for Watford this weekend? What do Watford need to do to get something from this one?
I think they have to play forward in their approach. They have to be conservative at times and keep the ball. But then when we get into the final third, they have to be really positive and distinctive in their finishing. And the way that we created chances at Everton is really what I'm looking for from that sort of away performances. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of pace in the team. Counter-attack away from home is often happens more. It happens more often than it does at home when you have more possession. So that'll be a key component of the game. And like Cristiano says, you know, Arsenal have not been fantastic all the way through the season. They do have those weaknesses, and their weaknesses for me are at the back. And use our pace and go forward.
And from a player's perspective as well, Tommy, international break after this as well. Another one. Seems I've had quite a few already so far. From a player's perspective, does that add a little bit of edge? You want to get a good result before you may be going off for international, but some players who aren't will have a bit of time to refocus?
I don't think that fits into a player's psyche. You're approaching the old adage, one game at a time. It genuinely is that. And it's also on the back of a defeat, it's more important for the Watford players to have a good reaction, should have a good performance, and hopefully with a good performance, a good result comes along. It doesn't always happen like that. But you'd like to think that the harder you work, the luckier you get, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of luck at the Emirates on Sunday. Cristiano, international break for you as well. Does that mean a bit of time off, or are you keeping your eye on players that are away with their countries? What does the next week look like for you after Arsenal?
It's the chance for following some players that we have under control in the national team, both young and experienced players. So it's always an important chance to keep working, to keep recruiting a player, and to keep working.
So a busy week for you next week.
Sure.
Tommy, golf?
I will probably play 4 or 5 times a golf. Rounds of golf.
Better is Sweden.
Love that. Okay, of course, the clocks went back last weekend, didn't they? Which means when it comes to the Premier League, we get a new football. It's right. It's a yellow one. I think 2005 was the first season we saw it in the Premier League, and this is the new design that's going to be used for the winter months, so it can be seen on the television and big screen. And I've got to say a massive thank you to DJ the Kitman, because we've kindly been given one to have a little look at on air this evening. Now, before the show, I said to Tommy, you know, how much of a big deal is it to have a yellow ball as the winter nights come in, the floodlights come on? And Tommy, your reaction was?
I don't really care. I just went into every game hoping that I was going to take it home, signed, autographed, because I'd had a hat-trick.
You got a few of these yellow ones you were telling me, though?
A couple of yellow ones, yeah.
Yeah, nice. To be fair, there's not much yellow on it, if we're completely honest. The design apparently is inspired by superheroes. So, Cristiano, do you have a favourite superhero that inspires you for this ball?
No.
No? No superhero? Tommy?
Batman's my favourite superhero, but I'm not sure there's any relevance in that ball there, Mike.
No,
I'm more surprised that you caught it coming in, being as though you're a goalkeeper.
I did. It was a good catch. I got the W in. That's all right. The goalkeepers here would be proud of me.
Technically good.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm available if you would like me in the transfer window. It'd be good. For you, yellow ball, interested or?
No.
No? Cool.
Nothing. Okay.
Well, there we go. Thank you very much, though, to DJ, for allowing us to use that one, of course, with those winter balls introduced this weekend. As we mentioned, of course, then, let's run you through the action that is coming up this weekend. That Arsenal game, of course, is a 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. We begin our coverage on that as well. Stay tuned to all the club channels for exclusive build-up and reaction to that. As we've mentioned already, you've got the chance to listen live, a free audio commentary with John Marks and Hornets. I think it's a typo there, with Tommy Mooney. I'm only joking. I feel bad. I'm being harsh, Tommy, tonight. With Watford legend, of course, Tommy Mooney. You can get that at watfordfc.com if you'd like to get involved with that. And of course, make sure you join us every Thursday, 7 till 8. We're going to have some great guests over the next few weeks and months. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for sending in your questions. And we look forward to bringing you some more exciting guests over the next few weeks. And time now then for a few more questions before we end tonight's show. Cristiano, this one is for you. It's from the Watford Way. How closely do you monitor players who are out on loan?
Very close. It's important because it's a project for us. So we have some person dedicated to them. I get in contact with them. We will follow every single game, and I will receive also a monthly report from all the players.
Okay, several people asking this next question. How important is the academy for the club's future? And are you confident that we will see an under-23s and under-18 players making it into the first team in the future?
This is our goal. We want to work not just for getting points or in the academy, but the academy, the goal has to be to bring players for the first team. With under 23 now, we are playing with a younger player than the previous season. They are doing well, they are developing, but again, yes, I agree. The goal is to bring players from the academy to the first team.
Amazing. Tommy, we have a question from you. This is from Greg Thieker. Greg, thank you very much for your question. When you signed on loan from Southend, did you ever think that you would have the legendary status and affinity to Watford that you have now?
No, I don't think any player would ever have that. I was coming from a club that I wanted to leave, and you know, the late Glenn Roeder called me and said, would you come down, and I jumped at the opportunity. It was only within the first few months I was brought here to help stay in the Championship, and we did that. And over the years, I think that on both sides of the fence, the love grows for my love for the club, certainly. So you don't ever, as a player, think that things are going to go as well as they did for me here at Watford.
Yeah, massively. Both of you, thank you so much. It's always good, as always, Tommy, to have you on every show with us inside the Hive. Really appreciate it, your insight, and it's good to have you with us. And for you, Cristiano, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time. Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Good.
Pleasure.
Good.
I will come next again.
Amazing. We'll definitely take you up on the offer to have you again. And
okay,
please speak to everyone else at the training ground, players, the manager.
Yes.
Tell them how much fun you had. and send them our way?
I do, okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to you for watching as well. Look, we really appreciate you sending your questions in. Apologies we couldn't get through every single question, but hopefully we managed to pick questions that pretty much covered most of the topics that you want answered this evening. Please keep in touch throughout the week on social media. Use that hashtag InsideTheHive. We are back next week, and fingers crossed we've got another very special guest coming our way on that one. So thank you to Tommy, thank you to Cristiano, thank you to you. Have a great rest of your week. Best of luck to Watford, of course, on Sunday, and we'll see you next Thursday.